Nels's children, Hagop and Chris, have traveled from far. Hagop has come all the way from China to be here with us this evening. Their daughter, Marley, was not able to join us tonight, but a number of their nephews are here, and siblings are here, and we're very grateful that you all attended, and most grateful that your family has shown so much support for our seminary here in the United States. We're going to continue the program now. I'd like to invite to the podium Nersess' son, Hagop Didizian.
Your Eminences, Your Excellency, members of the clergy, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I would first like to wholeheartedly thank the Dean and High for organizing and hosting this special event. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the organizing committee for their immense efforts and contributions that culminated in this evening's events. I know that this evening we are honoring my parents, and I can go on forever talking about how great they are, at least how great I think they are, and how much I love them. But no, I show them this in private. I could also congratulate them on their accomplishments, but this is not something I have ever done. And if I were to, they would probably say, "What are you talking about?" I will talk more about the person who, through his spirit, has gathered us here this evening. My uncle, King I. Yeah. The person who has touched most, if not all those he met. I have no doubt that all of you here who have at one time crossed paths with him have your own special stories and memories to tell. As a child, I only remember him as a person whose hand I was told to kiss. As years went by, our meetings became more and more personal and interesting to me, and I can say that his words of guidance and encouragement are still instilled in me. Veapa happened to be present at some of the most important milestones in my life. For example, a couple of days before I went off to boarding school at 14, and also just before I was to attend university. Every once in a while, Veapa would give me or send me a book he had written. I sometimes take one with me on a trip. I actually have a book he had written, he had given me in the early 80s, entitled In Search of Spiritual Life. It is by my bed at home. Even if I read a few pages every once in a while, I feel that Veapa is with me, guiding me 16 years after he left us. We had numerous special encounters around the world. But I will forever remember fondly the wonderful times we spent in Singapore and Bangkok in February of 1997 with my parents, my wife, my son. At the time, he was in London in November of 1997 for some official meetings and attended Hyde's christening. Although Vehapar's sermons were captivating, his wholehearted speech is spiritual, touching and inspirational to say the least. The times I appreciated most and learned the most from him were the times we spent alone. I have since realized that I took for granted what was his most precious gift, his time. A little more about my parents. After all, we are honoring them this evening. My parents have always given. For decades, they have made their gifts anonymously, if they could help. More recently, due to factors beyond their control, most of their actions are no longer anonymous. There is one thing I do want to thank my parents for. Thank you, Mommy and Bobby, for the time and for your efforts to have Vehapar's writings published and distributed around the world to individuals and institutions. Those who read these priceless volumes in the future will have the opportunity to meet Vehapar through the pen. And I know that he will, long after having left us, still be touching and inspiring lives. I would also like to thank the team behind this major task. Iris Papazian, Bastian Bugazian, Judy Vigers. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. But most of all, thank you for your time. It gives me great satisfaction and strengthens my faith in humanity that my parents gave all their time to a great, godly, and humble man when he needed it most. And today, to his memory and legacy. A man who always gave his time to others. 2 weeks before he left us, in June of 1999, I traveled to Armenia with the sole purpose of saying goodbye to Grandpa, knowing full well that he had very little time left. On the last day of my 4 days spent in Asia, our goodbye was very emotional. Whilst hugging him, he let out a painful sigh as I had hugged him too hard. I was crying. He looked at me with a stern face, put his fist up, looked up to say, faith, courage, and for the last time, put pen to paper and wrote, Vehapar, Uncle. Finally, I would like to share a poem that my son Hyde wrote and presented me on Father's Day when he was 10 years old. It is entitled, Dad, Thank You. Thank you for the laughter, for the good times we shared. Thanks for listening for trying to be fair. Thank you for your comfort when things are going bad. Thank you for the shoulder to cry on when I'm sad. This poem is a reminder that all my life through, I'll be thanking heaven for a special dad like you. If you don't mind, this evening I would like to borrow your poem and change the last paragraph. This poem is a reminder that all my life through, I'll be thanking heaven for special parents like you. Thank you for taking the time to be here this evening to remember Vehapar by celebrating His Holiness Parental I Theological Center, the new St. Nersess Seminary campus in Armagh, and to honor my dear parents. Thank you.